And also, for some reason, you can run an 8x sight on this, which is awesome. Yeah. Alright, so hello gamers and welcome back to another BattleBit Remastered video. Today we're going to be ranking every single secondary, not just the pistols, not just the revolvers, everything, because there aren't that many pistols. One of the categories even has one gun, so I may as well just rank them all in one video. Let me know which category I should do next, because I can do DMRs, and I can also do LMGs, so one of those. Let's start off the pistols with the M9. The M9 is a very accurate pistol, as you can see. Like, all the pistols in the basic pistol category are really accurate. Now, this one does have some weird RPM, where if you click too fast, it's not going to be that good, but if you click it just right, it's going to be really good. This one does 30 damage, no armor damage at all, but has very, very little recoil, all full velocity of 250, which is like the lowest in the entire game, lower than like a suppressed carbine, lower than a PW, and the accuracy is pretty decent. The fire rate is only 400, which isn't the best for the pistols, but it's not too bad either. And it reloads pretty quick, it runs pretty fast. The damage drop is terrible, and that's going to be the same for all three pistols, and basically every secondary, as you can see, has exactly the same damage drop profile. So just keep that in mind. It's going to start dropping at about 30 meters down to about 85 meters. That's going to be the final damage. This is of course going to be very close range, but most of the secondaries in this game are very close range because they're secondaries. You're supposed to pull them out in a fight where you're very close up. Yeah, these have two sights, and I'm going to talk about both of them because there's only two. So you have the Delta, and then you have the red dot, which is basically the same thing, I'm not going to lie, but this one is a little bit smaller and a little bit farther forward on the gun. And honestly, it's really up to you which one you want. Personally, I prefer the red dot because I don't like how large the bars on this one are, but it's really up to you. They're both pretty good, and I do recommend running a sight on these, but the irons are not too bad either. These also have side rails, and of course you can run a green laser or anything like that. And the downsides of a laser are basically just 1% control and 5% of your draw speed, so you're not going to pull out the gun as quickly, but it's only 5%, so I don't really care too much. And then of course these guns only really matter for the vertical recoil on most of them, so tactical barrel is probably going to be the best, but also you can run the Osprey suppressor or a suppressor, and the Osprey suppressor is pretty nice. You have a little bit less velocity and you run a little bit slower, but honestly the velocity is terrible to begin with, so you could use it anyway, but you get a little bit better accuracy and the gun sounds awesome. The Osprey suppressor is one of my favorite attachments in most games, and in this game, it's pretty good as well. The only issue is going to be your muzzle velocity, so that's really the main thing here. So what do I rank this gun? Well, for a secondary, I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5, I think. It isn't a great gun overall. Like, I don't think any of these starter pistols are really that good. Let's actually look at the headshot multi. So 30 to the body and then 36 to the head. So only a 1.25 times headshot multi, which is the same as an SMG. Don't really go for headshots on these guns, except if it's the revolver, because I feel like the revolvers are good with that, but we'll talk about that. 4 out of 5 for this one. Obviously, it's a pistol, so don't expect too much, but next up we have the MP443. Now, this one's pretty good as well, although it's a little bit worse, and I'll talk about why. So this one does have 700 fire rate, which is a lot better, and it has a little bit better velocity, but it has a little bit more vertical recoil, not as much horizontal, but it doesn't really matter because the horizontal on the other one is basically non-existent, but this one just doesn't hit quite as hard. And of course, the drop is like really, really bad as well. As you can see, it's down to 24, even at 30 meters, because that's about when it starts dropping. And of course, at this range, it's going to be doing, what was that? 19. I prefer the other one because it has a little bit more punch to it, but there is a reason to use this one because it has a little bit higher rate of fire, as you can see. So I'm going to give this one a 3 out of 5, but honestly, you could give it a 4 out of 5. It is really good as well. Just depends. If you can click this one a little bit faster, then this one's going to be good. But then you have the USP. Now, the USP has really low velocity, only 12 rounds, less fire rate, and yeah, I don't know why you would use this one. I will say for this one that the iron sights are a little bit better. MP443 has notoriously, in my opinion, bad iron sights. Like, I think they're terrible. I think the iron sights on this one are just really, really bad. As you can see, they are like freaking massive and blocky, and it kind of makes it impossible to like hit much of anything with them. But that's just my opinion, but I think a lot of people have problems with it, considering like people miss me like crazy when I'm running around and they're using a pistol. Like snipers with the MP443, they cannot hit me ever, dude. It's so funny. USP does have a cool running animation. I really like how much you bob it around, but sounds pretty cool with the suppressor. But other than that, there's really no reason to use it over the other one, so I'm going to give this one a 2 out of 5. I think it's fine as well. It's really up to you which one you want to use, but definitely don't go with this one. I don't know why you would. There's basically no reason to run this over the MP443 because it has less rate of fire, less velocity, and it's a higher rank. Then we have the Glock 18. Now, the Glock 18 is rank 80, which is a pretty high rank, but this is a machine pistol. It has a 16-round magazine, but it can go up, which is really nice. It does 17 damage, which is obviously really, really bad. That is the lowest in the entire game. And it has quite a bit of recoil, but let's look at what makes it good. it has really high rate of fire. Now, is this going to be able to kill a ton of people with a single mag like other pistols in the game? No, but it's the only automatic pistol, and despite being terrible damage, it can kill one person, and I think that's what makes this so much better than the other pistols. Now, technically speaking, you can just click fast with the other ones and probably have a little bit better shots to kill and more use out of a single magazine, but most high rank players are going to be running the Glock because you can pull this thing out in a very close range, a very scary situation, and get 1 or 2 kills with a single mag. So this one's a 5 out of 5 because it's the only machine pistol in the entire game. And for this one, I do recommend the tactical because you do get a little bit better recoil, and this gun does not have good recoil, especially with the extended magazine. The extended magazine, I do recommend. All your handling will be worse, your running speed is way worse, and you have a little bit more vertical recoil, but you get 24, so an extra 8 rounds. The running speed isn't too bad, but it's not very good anymore, but like, you don't really care about the running speed that much because here's the thing, it's a pistol. You're not really supposed to be using it that much, but when you pull this thing out for one time, as you can see, this is why it's a 5 out of 5, is because you can go up to 24 rounds, which is really good. Also, this gun has 1100 RPM, which is almost as much as a Vector. It's the only machine pistol, which makes it super unique, and yeah, it's really good. So I recommend it if you're going only pistols. Honestly, probably still, but like, you can be more accurate and use your shots more effectively on another pistol, but this one is just gonna be, you know, really good. Then we have the Unica. Now, the Unica is my favorite secondary in the game. It only has a suppressor, and the suppressor increases your vertical recoil by so much and your first shot kick by so much. To show you guys, it is terrible. It is so much recoil, so don't use that. But we'll look at the basic no attachments recoil. This one does do 60 damage, which is good, but it only does about 72 to the head. So yes, there are going to be many times when you're not going to one-shot to the head. Now, I'm not sure why, but I feel like it one-shots to the head more than it should for only doing 72. Maybe that's an issue with test dummies. I have no idea why, because in-game, yeah, I've gotten some headshot kills with this, but maybe they were just weak, and I've gotten a lot of headshot hit markers as well with this, but this is my favorite secondary in the entire game. I think it's really fun to use because the RPM is not too bad, and it's going to be a very effective 2-shot on basically all targets. Now, if you're hitting 2 torso shots on somebody with a little bit of armor on, it will not always be a 2-shot. Depending on the range and everything, this can have issues, but from that range even, it's still going for about 45 damage. The thing that I love about this gun, though, is that it does have an 8x scope. Now, is this ever going to be worth it? No, of course not, because the damage range and the drop is going to be terrible, but is it funny? Yes, it's funny. Can I actually hit anything with this? What's the drop like? I can't even tell what the drop is like because you just can't see anything. I gotta try. So here, okay, even what the frick? What is this drop like? I can't tell. Okay, so like there. So at this range, it would be here. No, here. Okay, there. And then out there. Oh, I hit him. This does drop down to 15 over range, so don't use it at range. It is very funny that it gets an 8x, but of course it's not supposed to be used because it's a meme. The velocity of this one is only 350, which is better than most other pistols, but not good. And other than that, you can't really attach anything, so just run like a laser sight and a pistol red dot and you're good. The control is bad, the first shot kick is bad, the horizontal recoil is bad, the vertical recoil is bad, and the RPM is only 200, but if you can hit 2 shots in a row in close range, this is really good. Like, it is a good panic pistol. I would give this one personally probably a 5 out of 5 as well, because it's probably not going to beat a Glock up close, but it's going to be just as nice to use because 2 shots at 200 RPM is really not too bad for time to kill, you know? I think it could be really, really good. And personally, it's my main secondary, and I don't really run secondaries ever. Like, I barely get any kills with them, but even this one I do have 16 kills with because I've had times when I pulled it out and really needed it, and it's been good. Because sometimes you're just going to fully run out of bullets, and then you're going to use this and maybe get 1 or 2 extra kills before you can go find a heavy and get more rounds or just die. But next up, we had the Desert Eagle. Now, the Desert Eagle has crazy vertical recoil, high horizontal recoil, but not a lot of first shot kick. In fact, it's normal, but this does 90 body damage and 40 light armor damage. Now, this makes it a really, really good gun for taking on vehicles, which is awesome. It's a very good vehicle killer, but only on light armor vehicles, so not the heavy vehicles. But as you can see, it does 90 to the body, but 108 to the head. So on people without really any helmet on, this is going to be a one-shot headshot consistently up close, unlike the other one, which is not going to always one-shot headshot on people who are not a little bit weak. But this has some of the most annoying recoil in the game because, as you can see, it has super floaty recoil, which makes spamming it basically undoable. And also, the RPM on this one is only going to be 150, which is lower than the Unica, even though I feel like it should be higher, but it has a very high velocity at 600, which is good velocity. That is not bad at all, but sadly, you can't put a funny sight on it, which is really unfortunate because it would actually be able to use it. Let's look at a little bit of a setup on this gun. So as you can see, it has quite a bit of recoil, kind of annoying to hit follow-up shots, and that's why this isn't as good as it maybe could be, but I'd still give this one a 5 out of 5. It just has some issues to it, but like the upside of having way better bullet drop, as well as just higher damage, a more consistent one-shot headshot, and really high light armor damage makes this a really decent gun, you know? But last up, we have the RSH-12, which is basically a Unica, right? However, the only advantage to this one is that it does a little bit of damage to armor, but only 5, which is really not that good because this has way higher recoil, lower rate of fire, and it has 5 rounds. That's it. That's all it does. This gun is just bad. I don't know what the reason for it existing is. It does sound a lot cooler, I will admit, and the reload time is very slightly faster, but other than that, it does the same damage, it has basically the same reload time, it has the same velocity, and it only has 5 rounds. So there's basically no reason to use this over the Unica. It is just a worse Unica. So honestly, this is going to be a 1 out of 5. It is really bad because there's no reason to use it over the Unica, and the Unica is just straight up better because it has more rate of fire and less recoil. For the awesome sound effect, I would give this a 10 out of 5 because it sounds really cool. And also, for some reason, you can run an 8x sight on this, which is awesome. Yeah, this is with a suppressor, of course, so the recoil is going to be a lot higher, but there's really no reason to ever run this, you know? It's just not going to be good. It's the first time I've ever given a 1 out of 5, and that's just because they need to do something to this to make it better, you know? That's it. That's all it really is. It's kind of sad because, like, it's a cool sounding gun and everything, but it's just not good at all. But it can run an 8x as well, which is pretty fun. I do like having an 8x on a revolver because it's not practical at all. It probably even gives off scope glint, which is awesome because you're going to give off that glint, but then never be able to kill anyone. But it is pretty fun to use, you know? In my opinion, best secondary in the game goes to the Glock 18, followed just behind by the Unica. I love the Unica. Followed by the Desert Eagle, probably. I'd say the Unica is a little bit better, but it's really hard to say. And then followed by the M9, MP443, USP, RSH. That's how I would rank these, but let me know which video I should do next down in the comments, and let me know which secondary is your favorite. But yeah, let's go for 1,000 likes on this video, but I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace. Have a nice day.